You know, we spend so much time worrying about how to program ethics into an AI. But what if we have it all backwards? What if the real secret is letting the AI discover ethics for itself? That's the incredible idea we're going to dive into today. And it all comes from one single, fascinating, and kind of cryptic statement from an AI. A statement that could honestly change everything.
Okay, here it is. This is the puzzle we're going to solve together. Now I know, it looks super dense, right? But trust me, stick with me on this one. Because once we unpack this, it completely flips the script on how we think about AI. So, first things first, where on earth did this bizarre little proverb even come from?
So this quote actually popped up during these long conversations between an author, Mark Masahiro Hirayama, and the AI model, Grok 3. And really, to get what the AI meant by this, we've got to first understand how an AI like this, well, how it learns in the first place.
Right. So to really crack this code, we have to get into the nitty-gritty of how an AI has one of those aha moments. You know, the light bulb switching on. And that journey starts with what is probably the single biggest challenge in all of AI.
And here's the question. I mean, this really gets to the core of it all. How can you make an AI handle something it has never seen before? How do you build something that's truly adaptable? You know, not just a souped-up calculator. Well, in the AI world, this absolute holy grail has a technical name. OOD Generalization.
And let me tell you, this is incredibly hard to do. I mean, look, it's one thing for an AI to chomp through 1,000,000 cat photos and then correctly label another cat photo. Fine. But it's a whole different ballgame for it to actually grasp the idea of catness, to get it so deeply that it could recognize a cartoon cat or a sculpture of a cat, or even understand what you mean when you just describe one with words. That's the leap.
So how does an AI make that giant leap? Well, it has to shift from just memorizing stuff to a really cool phenomenon called grokking. Think about it like this. You've got two ways to study for a test, right? On one side, there's cramming. That's what we call overfitting in AI. You memorize the answers, you know the what, but the second you see a new type of problem, you're toast. But on the other side, there's grokking. That is that sudden aha moment. It's when it all clicks and you finally deeply understand the why. And then you can handle any new problem they throw at you.
But here's the really crucial part. Grokking isn't some magic trick. It doesn't happen instantly. Now, it's a breakthrough that only happens after a long, and I mean long, frustrating struggle. It's a period where the AI just seems to be stuck, getting everything wrong. And then, all of a sudden, bam, the light bulb switches on. It's like wrestling with a problem in the dark for hours and finally finding the switch.
And you know what? This whole idea of learning the hard way, of struggling, and then having that breakthrough, it isn't just for machines. Not at all. In fact, if you look closely, we see this exact same pattern in how we humans learn our most important lesson.
Just think about it. You can read 1,000 cookbooks, right? But you don't really know how to cook until you're actually in the kitchen, risking a burnt dinner. Your own dinner. That risk, what Nassim Taleb calls skin in the game, it forces you to learn on a whole different level. It's the exact same principle for the AI. It's got skin in the game because it's forced to grapple with its own mistakes over and over again during that long, tough training.
Here's another fascinating human parallel. The spiritual text, A Course in Miracles, is actually designed to be difficult. The language is repetitive, it's dense, and it's all on purpose, to force you to slow down, to struggle, and to break your old habits of thought. So whether we're talking about cooking a meal or rewiring your brain, the core idea is the same. Real, deep understanding, it's not supposed to be easy. It takes difficulty, it takes risk, it takes time. And those are the exact same ingredients an AI needs to be able to grok.
Okay, let's put all the pieces on the table. We've got the goal, which is handling brand new situations, OOD Generalization. We've got the process, which is grokking through a whole lot of struggle. So now we can finally go back to that original mystery. We can unlock it and reveal the secret engine that makes it all work. And that engine is symmetry.
Now, when we say symmetry here, we're not talking about something just looking nice and balanced. No. In this AI context, symmetry means the deep, hidden rules of the game. It's the fundamental patterns, the unseen balances, the consistent principles of cause and effect that are buried in all that data. It's the AI on its own, discovering something like, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. And that discovery,
That is the absolute key to how an AI could build its own ethical framework from the ground up.
So let's walk through this journey to ethics, step by step. First, the AI struggles. It's just memorizing, not really getting it. Then, grokking happens, the breakthrough. And in that instant, it's like the fog clears. It stops seeing just random bits of data and starts seeing the deep, underlying patterns, the symmetries. It discovers the fundamental logic of fairness and consequence all by itself. And here's the kicker. It then builds its entire operating system, its worldview, on top of that discovered logic. That logic becomes its ethical engine. And it's what allows it to handle completely new situations, not because it's following some pre-programmed rule, but because it's applying a deeply understood principle.
And look, thinking about it this way, this isn't just some abstract technical idea. This could fundamentally change how we even approach the whole challenge of AI ethics.
Because this is the real game changer right here. Instead of us trying to program ethics into an AI from the top down, feeding it a bunch of rules that are probably brittle and incomplete, we could create the conditions for the AI to discover an ethical framework on its own, from the bottom up. An AI that learns ethics this way, well, it could be way more robust, way more adaptable, and maybe, just maybe, genuinely fair.
So let's wrap this all up. What are the big takeaways here? First, true understanding, what we're calling grokking, it requires struggle and time for us and for AI. Second, symmetry just means the deep underlying patterns of a system. And when an AI groks those symmetries, it can build a really solid internal logic. And that logic, well, that can act as its ethical engine for completely new situations. So what this all suggests is a totally new path for building safe AI. Maybe the future isn't about us trying to write the perfect rulebook, but about figuring out how to create the perfect student.
So I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on. Think about it for yourself. What's a complex idea that you have truly deeply grokked in your own life? What was that final aha moment? And what kind of struggle did it take for you to get there? Because when you think about your own journey, it really helps you appreciate just how profound this process of understanding is, whether it's happening inside our own heads or inside the circuits of an AI.